the Garrett Perry podcast on 88.7 CFUR. Now I'm all messed up with the... Oh, there we go. Oh, snap. I was talking over the old broadcast. I forgot to turn down. The show has to start with technical difficulty or it's not really a show. Am I right? Oh, I'm not even getting you now on the broadcast. Test. Now I'm getting you, but is this the broadcast or am I listening to the audition? I really hope this is going out on the air right now. Let's see. That's true, but I guess you could check on the airwaves. At least I'm getting the show, but like it would be a shame if I was causing dead air from everybody. So right now I'm not getting myself through the vocals, or I'm not hearing myself through the headphones, but I'm hearing you, so that's good. I think the technical difficulty section is almost over. Wait, let's just make sure that you're on the broadcast. Can you give me a check 1 2? Oh, you're not coming up on the air right now. Okay. How about now?
Testing.
Looks like you're coming through on the broadcast. I could hear myself again. I could hear you. And I'm confident this is going out on the air right now. So.
And is it normal if I can hear myself?
You could hear yourself right now? Like an echo?
Not anymore. It's gone.
It's gone. Okay. No, that was not good.
Okay.
Oh, my God. All right. The Garrett Perry podcast on 88.7 CFUR. Technical issues aside, I got to guess this is the first time I've done a Skype call live on the radio. It's Cruz Moore from California. Yeah.
Hello.
You're a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. I'm Cruz Moore. I'm the writer, director, and editor of the documentary Look Closer, The Rise and Fall of Robert Benfer.
And that was a documentary featuring what people my age would know as KnoxsKorner.
Yeah, for anyone ranging from, I guess I wouldn't be able to say since the response from a lot of people have been of all different ages, but yeah, anyone who was probably 12 or 13 during the years 2005 and 2006, the glory years, would probably be aware of KnoxsKorner or Film Cow, Newgrounds, that kind of realm of the internet.
Yeah, my one friend that actually commented on I shared the trailer on my Facebook, and he's like, is this about KnoxsKorner? Wow, that really brings me back to when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's been really great to hear that from people.
When was the age that you found Robert Benfer and that whole community of animation?
That would have been, let's think, I would have been at least 12, and that was during 2005. My best friend at the time, Jimmy, who you actually see in the documentary, he's the one I keep flashing back to during the film. He just came up to me during lunch, and he's like, you have to watch this video called Boogie Monster.
Boogie Monster.
And I think I had the same response that the Clayman do, which is, what, so like, Boogeyman? No, he's not a boogeyman. He's not a monster. He's a boogie monster. So I'm like, okay, I'll try to find that somehow. And I think I didn't go straight to his site. I went to funnyjunk.com at the time.
Oh.
And I couldn't find that one, but I ended up finding Legs the Hamster and Look Who's Looking Now. And those just left me in tears with laughter because they were just absolutely nonsensical and unlike anything I had seen on the internet up to that point. And from there, I discovered, oh, wait, this is the same guy that Jimmy was talking about. It's just more of what he's doing. And then that led to KnoxsKorner, and the rest was history.
That's awesome. So obviously you're a fan of their early podcast, KnoxsKorner? No, KnoxsCast.
Yeah, KnoxsCast Radio.
That was, I think, produced largely by Film Cow creator Jason Steele. In retrospect, me just thinking back about it, Knox was just a part of it, but it was under his name.
Yeah, with Jason, he seemed to kind of have a lot of know-how when it came to that technical side of everything. And he was the one who was recording it as well and also played the music, so.
That's right. And then the show kind of evolved to the point where Robert would record his own broadcasts, and that's when you could tell there was a spike in quality.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first podcast that I really discovered at that time. It was because of them that really led to a lot of first discoveries for me in terms of filmmaking and independent creation.
That's right. It was a mystery back in the day. Like, no, there was no tutorials on how to make animations. It's like you
Mm,
gotta know how or have a friend teach you. It was almost like an elite form of entertainment. As kids, like myself, I know like I wanted to do animation for a long time before I managed to finally do it.
hmm
It was just like a spark of creativity that was on hold for years. How long did it take you
Yeah.
to kind of access your filmmaking talents?
It was around the same time. I think I got my first camera around 2004, 2005. And as soon as I got that, I would just film everything I could because I didn't have an editing program. And even with Windows Movie Maker, it would crash way too many times for me to even try to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I got a camera, because I have been wanting to, be a director ever since I discovered that movies were a thing when I was 3 years old. And from there, I would just film everything I could. And it wasn't until I was 16 that I finally have access to an editing program and a video production class in high school.
Oh,
And
cool.
from there, it was just self-teaching throughout the whole thing. And that's how it's always been.
That's right. I know early on in my case, I went and got a video camcorder. I saved up a bunch of money. I think I had to use my mom's credit card to buy it on Amazon
Uh,
or eBay or something. I don't even remember. It was and then as for editing went, that was I used Windows Movie Maker right away, and I was lucky it didn't crash on me, so I was able to like set up the shots and get
mhm.
the and be able to see a finished product the time by the end of the day, right? Like it was awesome. It was the first time I really
Yeah.
felt like I created something.
hmm
Did you have
Took
similar
hours upon hours,
feelings?
but eventually you got there
Mm-hmm.
with
And
something that resembled what you were going for.
to this day, like I feel like I still have a bit of that creativity. Like I think I was just born with this layer of creativity. It's
hmm
hard to deny. Do you have creative outlets beside filmmaking?
No, it's primarily video production, editing, anything to do with movies. If I'm not working on a film, I'm normally watching movies, writing about movies, talking about movies. That's pretty much the spectrum of my creative outlet.
Now, these videos don't seem like much now, but back then, 8 years ago, this was something.
Here we go. If we let it out, let the black light glow. Crimson show. When the blood it turns, then the truth it flows. I'll no longer help you when your picture's out of focus and your frame is out of fashion and you're down, down, down. No one's gonna save you when you're burning all your bridges and your life ain't full of riches when you're down, down, down.
You can't achieve fame without achieving hate.
I can see these bombs around me, but nothing's gonna slow me down. I can see these thieves surround me, but no one's gonna stop me now. Bombs around me.
How long did it take you to create this movie Look Closer? The Rise and Fall of Robert
Um,
Benfer.
I started in May, finished up in December, so it was about 6 to 7 months.
And what was the original idea that drove this film?
Um, it ultimately came from the fact that, like I said, I had been a fan of Robert's work for nearly a decade, and discovering KnoxsKorner was absolutely foundational to me discovering what you could do on your own with so very little. And to go from being inspired like that to being completely disappointed by him, by being scammed by him in 2013, was disillusionment that I had never felt before. It was the first time that you had a creative hero completely disappoint you and make you realize that it wasn't 2006 anymore. So for the longest time, myself and the 100 other people that pre-ordered his box set had to live with the fact that he didn't care about our situation. We were never going to get our money back, and we certainly were never going to get the box set.
And it's the 100 people that you only know of, right? There could be potentially more, and there were more down the line.
Yeah, definitely. Because he didn't stop in 2013. He continued to sell fake merchandise as the years went on. And we just settled for that for the longest time. But the more I thought about it and the more that time went on, it just wouldn't stop bothering me. So to the best of my ability, I decided I need to make a film that chronicles the beginning of Robert's career to where it is now, show the impact that he had on young filmmakers, and give insight into the box set situation for people who may not know about it.
Yeah, it is a great film. The first 20 minutes is almost just like a love fest for Robert Benfer. It doesn't get to the scam until about the halfway point, which for a lot of people is disillusioning too, just to find out the people that didn't get scammed, to find out about what he's capable, what he was doing, right? It's not cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, what exactly the response would be. Like, in production, I was thinking, this is 45 minutes long, and it's for a really niche topic, for an esoteric time of the internet. This is probably going to get less than 50 views. It'll be seen by the people I make it for, but other than that, I have no idea. And the fact that it's grown to almost 5,000 now is absolutely astounding.
Really cool. Yeah, and it is the highs and the lows of it that makes the movie, in my opinion. If it was just a crap fest on Robert Benfer and how his scams were, it wouldn't have been as powerful as it is.
Thank you. Yeah, I in no way intended this to try to, what's the word, like lambast or, try to defame him in any way. I definitely wanted to show that, as unknown as he is today, I mean, he's not a household name like a lot of YouTubers are now, but as I can see from the response, there still is an audience that remembers his work and has followed it since the beginning. And there has to be a reason for that. And the reason for it is because I felt that his work had genuine creative artistry to it. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, to see someone who had so much potential and so large of a fan base just fall into something that was the exact opposite is in no way trying to ruin his image, but it's just showing the truth of the matter.
Now, I want to bring up something I read on the forums, the Film Cow forums. Mm-hmm. They brought up, and something that you didn't mention, rest in peace, yeah, the first forums died there.
I don't know what's happening to it, but,
hopefully it'll come back. But at least the second incarnation of the forums is alive, so there's still a bit of a community going on there. A really tiny community. We could still say rest in peace. When Robert Benfer made his first film, Off the Table, that claymation feature length, there was a tidbit that he didn't pay his taxes, and that wasn't mentioned in your film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't bring that up because the estimate that I got was a revenue of $125,000 from the film. And I found that on the wiki too, that someone said that he did not, know how to file for taxes when it comes to making that kind of income at that age. And on the wiki, it said the reported loss was something like $50,000 to $75,000. But I wanted this documentary to be solely based on as much fact as it could be. So the fact that I couldn't find a verifiable source for that statement, I decided not to include it.
Fair enough. What about also early on in his youth? I think you might have mentioned this in the film. I don't remember, about him being ill for a lot of that when he was creating the Dr. Bob character in the claymation world. Do you know any more facts about that or any unverified truths?
Um, well, yeah, because from what I thought, from what I gathered from his DVD commentary, he said that he was sick with an illness that had the potential to cause cancer during his teenage years, and eventually, thankfully, they took care of it. Um, but that ended up getting clarified by his sister Jill's comment on the video, which completely surprised me. She thankfully clarified that he didn't drop out of high school solely to pursue filmmaking. He dropped out because the illness made it so that he got sick so many times that they eventually just took him out because it seemed like a reasonable thing to do.
Okay. Yeah, because the other theory was that he made so much money, he was able to support himself, and he could. Well, obviously, $125,000 ain't no chunk change.
hmm Yeah, and anytime he referred to it, he never really clarified that it was the illness that made him drop out. Like anytime he would bring it up on KnoxsCast, especially when he's mispronouncing words, he just goes, "I can't read. I dropped out of high school," and then he left it at that. So
Yeah, that could have been a joke, though, because you learn to read when
yeah,
you're younger, hopefully.
yeah, I knew it was a joke, but it's like he never really clarified as to why he did, and I just assumed that it was because you just made $100,000. Why would you waste your time doing anything else?
You're listening to the Garrett Perry podcast on 88.7 CFUR. I have Cruz Moore, filmmaker, documentarian. You ever see yourself as a documentarian before this film?
Absolutely not, because with the things that I make, it goes from short films to movie trailers to music videos, but never in my mind did I plan on making a documentary because I can never really think of a topic that I was that passionate about until one day it just hit me that, yeah, something needs to be done about the great things that this guy has done as well as what he decided to do so many years ago.
I'm glad that you did step up and make this documentary because I think it is important that people know, and like the potential for him to scam again at this point is high. He doesn't acknowledge it anywhere, and if you would confront him about it, he'd just block your comment or something. It's really hard. This might be the very first thing that might be able to grab his attention of his fans, at least.
It's definitely grabbed the attention of his fans. I'm getting both new and old people who have followed him that have said, "Wow, I had no idea that this even happened," and it's surprising that it has that effect.
Now, when you were getting the testimonials, which is the part that of the film that I'm involved with,
hmm
how did you go about asking for that and going, getting that stuff?
I pretty much just sent out the call to every, like the Film Cow forum for one, every single forum, Reddit, news message board, like anything I could think of that would have people who could provide their opinion. Had to scroll through a lot of comments on other videos talking about the scam situation, and any single person who had an issue with it, I would reply to them and say, "This is what I'm doing. Feel free to message me if you have anything to provide."
What do you think was the most successful outlet?
Well, let's see. Thomas came from YouTube. You and Connor came from the Film Cow forum, I think. And then Sky came from YouTube because he would upload a lot of lost footage from Film Cow and Robert, and that's how I got to know him. Because I also have the channel Studio Lost and Found, and that's where you can find KnoxsCast episodes, deleted videos of Robert, and other things like that.
I gotta check that out. It sounds like it's right up my alley. There's a lot of deleted videos of Robert Benfers that I wanted to check out. There's like
Yeah, you can find some of them there. I've tried my best to get as many as I could.
Yeah, and your film is like an emotional roller coaster too. If you're a fan of Robert Benfer, you see all these clips that he's created throughout the years, and then KnoxsCast is almost just like a part of it too. KnoxsCast, just not Knox. Clay Worlds.
Yeah, for me personally, KnoxsCast was part of me growing up. I mean, there would be so many fond memories of like playing Resident Evil 4 all day and just listening to KnoxsCast over and over.
Yeah, I did actually listen through the series a few times. I might even have all the episodes on an MP3 somewhere.
I still have all of them. I'm just slowly uploading them to my channel.
Oh, right on. Yeah, there's actually some episodes where I don't even think I listened all the way through. I think like the Booberry episode later
I
on.
love that one so much. I don't think there's a Halloween that doesn't go by that I don't listen to that.
Really? And that's
Yeah.
one that I kind of skipped over for some reason. I like some of the really early ones. The one where he's in, where they're in Canada in a bunker after the world's being eaten by twisty treats.
Yeah.
And
Like I know that there are so many times when Jason and Robert thought that show was terrible, and I think by today's standards of podcasts, some might not be able to sit through it. But the reason why people like you and I loved it so much is the fact that it was the only way we had a window into their world and how they did what they did, and that was all that we needed.
and it was kind of a disappointment too when they gave it up after 74 episodes.
I don't blame them.
But then they went and tried to do another podcast with Chris Alex as well. And they called that Chaos Pony, but that only went 22 episodes or something.
Yeah, I think it was a formidable effort. It was a little bit more of like an adult audience versus NoxsCast.
Well, the
Didn't really have the
audience
same
grew
effect
up with
that I
them
think.
too at that point, I believe.
Sorry?
I think the audience grew up with them.
Oh yeah, of course.
So all those NoxsCast fans who were 6 back in the day there. In their 20s.
I think the one moment of glory I had with that is that they actually read an email that I sent to them, and that was a nice moment for me.
Yeah, I sent them an email. They very early on in Chaos Pony. I think they were done in NoxsCast by the time I came around. So I listened to the 74 episodes, and I was there when they dropped 75 finally, a year or two later, or however long that was. Totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember sitting in my public library listening to episode 75 after waiting for it for years and just sitting there going, what? Oh, okay.
There was a great script, but they didn't cut it up at all. It was just like them performing a script. And
Yeah,
just-
for anyone listening who isn't aware of it, like episode 75 was supposed to be a big grand finale that would wrap up all the little story arcs that they threw out throughout the podcast, but it was just this thing where they like tried to read the script, but they gave up, so they just improvised a bunch of things, and it was not what we were expecting. But at the same time, I feel like we should have expected it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to say it. Just their comedy was so unique and out there.
Like there are some skits that I feel like, I don't know, they're just rife with potential, and I'm surprised that Jason hasn't tapped into any of them. Like episode 11 where they did the library.
Oh, Juice
I think
Box.
it would be, yeah, they'd be perfect for a short film.
Yeah, somebody attempted to animate it at one point. I remember. I think I saw that back in the day. They might have deleted the video. I don't know. But that would have been great. It was such a perfect little scene where this guy wakes up in the library and he keeps running into this one guy and gives him a different name every time. Juice Box 11, Juice Box 25.
Juice Box 2000 just threw that guy off of the second level and right onto the encyclopedia section.
I don't even remember what was the other guy's name. Juice Box.
It was Mango.
Mango.
Mango 45.
It's been a long time since I listened to those, but now I want to listen to them again. Now it has a nostalgia feel to it too at this point, because that's never gonna happen again. It feels like.
Yeah, I remember messaging him on his forum asking like, Jason, can you please do like a film podcast? Because if there's one thing I gained from NoxsCast was his film recommendations, and that led me to discovering so many more things.
That's right. I remember he was recommending a Pauly Shore movie really early on. And he's expecting no one to understand. And then Sammy Penrod was like, "Oh, I love that film." I was like, "What? How do you even know this exists?" It was great.
It's thanks to him that I discovered The Night of the Hunter and Jan Svankmajer's Alice And I don't know if they realized it, but every time they'd bring up something creative like Little Tin Frog or Logan Whitehurst, I would immediately write that down and seek it out.
That's awesome. I never did that. There's a few times where I've coincidentally seen something that they were talking about, like that Alice in Wonderland film.
Yeah.
That one was terrifying. That was a weird animation slash live action crossover with a little girl. I guess there's so many incarnations of Alice in Wonderland because it's such an old story. I believe it's in the public domain.
Yeah, that one in particular is my favorite. Nothing is beating that yet.
That Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen it and loves Alice in Wonderland, definitely check out Jan Svankmajer's Alice. It's absolutely incredible.
Oh, you remember the director's name. That's awesome.
Well, it's because it's like pasted everywhere whenever you find the title. That's like the only good way to find it.
Oh, the film that we were talking about, The Look Closer, is being showcased at a film festival, the American Documentary Film Festival. Is that
It's
in
been
California?
accepted to the American Documentary Film Festival in Palm Springs, California.
Palm Springs. Awesome. So when you made this film, did you imagine submitting it to a film festival?
Yeah, I had the hope that it could potentially, gain some attention in some way. It was really my first attempt at deciding, to put myself out there and see if I could get into the festival circuit. And I did not expect it to get accepted into any of them, and this one really took me by surprise.
So do you have any other hopefuls out there so it might have more screenings? Or is that the only one at the moment?
Yeah, I've submitted it to a couple more, and I also submitted my first short film, Are You Recording, to some festivals, so here's to hoping for both of those.
Good luck, man. Rooting for
Thank
you.
you.
Because of this documentary screening, is it going to get an IMDb credit?
Still working on that. I've recently compiled everything that has to do with the film and all the information, and right now I'm just waiting for approval.
What are you waiting for? What has to happen for it to be approved?
Well, you submit your film to the website, and then they have a specific team, from what I got from the email, that approves it if it's legitimate and real.
Okay, now here's a question I had, because you're using so much footage of other people's works. Is that a problem at all?
That's been a really big gray area with this because I've made shorter video essays in the past and have just used whatever footage I could to illustrate their story because I believed it fell under fair use, and it's never been an issue with me. But when this got accepted, I figured it'd be best to let the creators know that I have, and sent the email out to every single person whose footage I used, which included Mr. Weeble, David Firth, Matt Jolly, the creator of Madness Combat, and the big one would be Robert Benfer,
Right.
since it consists like 95% of the film is his footage. And with that, it was this weird issue of, when I first made this, I did not want to come off as someone who was knocking on his door and going, "Hey, Robert, look what I made. Look what I did. You have to answer to this." It was made solely for the people who had been a fan of his for so long, and I would just let it exist and see what happened. Then a couple of weeks later, Connor Nyberg, who gave his testimonial in the film, told me that he sent it to him on Twitter simply saying, "Robert, please watch this." And that response was an immediate block. So that answered that question. And from there on, that's how it just stayed. But when this film got accepted into the festival, I figured, okay, this story is going to continue. The audience is going to continue to grow. I think now is the best time to let him know that it exists, what my position is in the matter, and if he wants to open up a conversation about this. So I sent him a formal email asking for his approval for the footage and if he'd like to give any insight into the matter, because I emailed him in May of 2018 asking for the same thing, and I got no response. And just as I expected, I've received no response so far from him. And I don't expect to get one either.
Does he have much communication with his audience these days? I haven't really checked out his YouTube channel in a long time. Oh, wait, before you do that, I got to take a quick break. I got to restart my cameras. So this is called the intermission. The intermission. The intermission. I'll restart both my cameras. There we go. Such a pain in the butt. Ruins the show. 88.7 CFUR, the Garrett Perry podcast. I gotta be writing those down too. Sorry about cutting you off so rudely. Where were we?
No, it's all good. It actually made me realize that mine did the exact same thing, so give me 1 sec.
Oh, cool. The intermission isn't over. Now I'm good for the rest of the show. My cameras stop every 30 minutes. One stops after 30, one stops after 40, but they're totally different brands.
Yeah, but in regards to how I'm going about that in terms of the approval, from what I gathered with my research, because it's for journalistic purposes and because it's for educational purposes, it should fall under fair use. And since it's completely based on facts, it's in no way considered to be slandered or defamation of character. So it's still a really big gray area for me whenever you look up fair use and how it applies to a piece of content, but that's about as much as far as I could look up.
That's fair. And as far as I'm aware, things don't really start to become an issue until there's money involved, and I don't think there's been any money involved in this project so far.
No, absolutely not. And it wouldn't be able to because, you know, this content is existing and being illustrated by all the people that relate to Robert's work and that era of the internet, and it in no way can make money, which I'm completely fine with, because for me, it's about telling the story and having it affect people on an emotional level.
That's awesome. No, I can't get enough of this film. It was awesome when it first came out, and I'm glad it's gotten a bit of a response too. It wasn't just meant for the people who were involved. I'm happy that I went and checked on the Film Cat forums regularly just for this one opportunity to come about, because it's awesome just to be involved.
I'm really thankful for your response, and Thomas's and Connor's and Sky's. Like, it would not have succeeded if it weren't for your guys' input.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the people that just had the footage, right? There's other people that had footage, the lost footage, of course, right? You already talked about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people like the Knox Files and Mick Dogo and Sky Sonamura, like because of them and the fact that they had the foresight.
Didn't get back to you.
Sorry, say again?
Eric Canis, he's a part of the Film Cat forums as well, and I'm disappointed he didn't get back to you and become a part of this film as well.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that you considered him like a Knox historian.
Yeah, because he would actually save all the videos, and I think he had a hard drive crash at one point in time. He might have lost a lot of it, but he's the reason why I have the KnoxsCast files on MP3 somewhere, because he reshared them after they weren't available.
Yeah, because after I heard that and after I saw his comments on there, I messaged him and asked if he had any way to help me with it, and I got nothing back. And then I was, kind of surprised when like the video went live and he left a comment after a week or so saying, "Man, I really wish I responded to you because I would have liked to help with this." So
yeah, no one else had the vision. No one knew what you were creating. I didn't even know what you were creating, but I'm glad that I gave you the faith. And
thank you.
Because I didn't check out your films beforehand, and I don't even think I still have. I've only seen this one.
Well, they exist, so if you ever have free time, they're there.
Yeah, how do people find them for the listeners, I guess?
If anyone would like to see more of my work, you can go to cruzmoore.com. You can go to vimeo.com/cruzmoore, or on YouTube, you can find my channel Separate Way.
Separate Way. Is that the channel that you created when you were a kid? You can't change the name?
Yeah, sort of. I made it when I was 16.
Nice.
Hmm.
So then I'm assuming you have a large archive of all your work from when you were 16 on there, unless you went and did what Robert did and deleted all your videos.
No, I still have some old stuff. I started really publishing to YouTube in 2010. Yeah, you can still find some really old stuff, but the majority of what I do now consists of short films, comedy skits, music videos, movie trailers, anything that really comes to mind.
So for your music videos, are you working with the musicians?
Well, no. In terms of music videos, it's more of like a movie remix. You know, you take like I made one about Donnie Darko.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just I take the film, find a music track that applies to it in some way, and then just remix it into my own little creation,
Oh, so it's like an editing,
like a supercut.
a supercut. I
Yeah.
like that. I've seen people make those or recut films in a different style of. That's like a film school
Hmm.
trick. No, film school thing. I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore.
Hmm.
Switching off topic, I had a really bad experience the other day. Yesterday, I went up to Michael's, which is an art store here, to buy some canvases because on their website, on their front page of their ad, there's like the buy one get one free, and it showed a product that I really wanted in the picture. So I went to go get that, but when I went there, it didn't. It wasn't like it was in the flyer, and so I went to the manager to complain about this, but he ended up phoning the police on me.
What was the reason for that?
Because I wanted to get a 2-for-1 deal on something that wasn't a 2-for-1 deal. Like I didn't overreact, especially when he phoned the police, but I wasn't like getting violent, or I was persistent, I'll say that. And I think he was using it as a scare tactic to scare me away, but I believe he mimed phoning the police. Because I think he just picked up the phone. He's like, yep. Oh, yeah, I just don't want this to escalate. So I was like, I called him out on his bluff. So
Maybe you were the 10th person that day that called him out for not approving the sale, and then he was just, getting bombarded with that.
maybe that makes a lot of sense. I was so disappointed. I'm still kind of heartbroken about this because it's like the art store. I don't even really feel welcome going back. And like, he didn't ask me to leave. He didn't ask me politely, like, oh, you got to go. Or I wanted the deal. And yeah, so I ended up getting one of the product. I didn't get the buy one, get one free, but I got one 50% off. I think he was just trying to get me out of the store at that point.
And that's when you went to Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, I wish there was more bigger. I'd have to go to like Walmart or something, or even just Dollarama now. The only reason why I went there is because they do have kind of cheap prices that combat the dollar store. Like I think they're a little bit cheaper there at that art store than it is at the dollar store. So yeah, I'm really bummed out about this. I'm calling out Michael's now. Sent them an email. Hope to hear something back. I think it was just a poor customer service relation issue happening there.
The views expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the radio station.
No, they don't advertise with this radio station. But true, that is a good statement to say. I've said some pretty risque stuff on the air before, and I'm almost like calling them out. You have a problem with what I say? No one has a problem with what I say. We'll see. One day I'll just be like, oh, sorry, you're not allowed on the air no more. I won't get the key to the radio station. I have the mayor of my local town coming on a next podcast or two. No, not the next one.
That's cool.
2 weeks from now. I think it's awesome that he would actually like let me reach out to him and follow through with it and come on a podcast, not knowing what's going to happen. I've worked with him.
What better person to have on there?
Yeah, hopefully it ends up being pretty good. I don't know what kind of questions to ask him. I'm not really too hip on this. I'm going to ask him a bunch of personal questions, what kind of music he likes to listen to and stuff. What kind of movies do you want to listen to or watch? What's on your to watch list?
Way too many things. I think my watch list is starting to scare me now because I just won't stop adding to it.
Okay, what are some highlights of your to watch list that you're excited about?
I don't know. Let me bring up Letterboxd, I guess. Yeah, I find it easier to just keep adding films to a list than it is actually watching them for some reason. I think it gets way too addicting.
Yeah, well, the research process of it, going out and looking and discovering, like, oh man, that's going to be awesome. Put it on the to watch list. Takes 1 second to watch the movie. Takes an hour to 2 hours, depending on the film.
Hmm.
And it depends.
But I think in terms of new releases, tomorrow I'm planning on seeing the Lego Movie 2, and then I'm trying to decide between Fighting with My Family and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but apart from that, it's this horrible amalgamation of things on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and everywhere else I can find it. So,
Did you watch? Okay, here's a movie that everybody watched, Bird Box. Did you watch that one?
yeah, people keep recommending that to me, and it's been this balancing act of one half of the people say that it's terrible, and the other half are saying it's amazing. So I'm kind of caught in between.
Oh, okay. I did see it. I would say it's all right. That's for sure. It's not like a great masterpiece. Sandra Bullock's awesome.
Mm.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's totally crap, but I wouldn't say it's the greatest thing.
Hmm.
It's nothing.
Yeah, I would say that horror is my favorite genre. So it's it's
Oh,
kind of in
that's
that
kind of
area
right
for
up
me.
your alley, yeah. Because that is kind of a bit of a. I don't know. It's there, but it's not real scary though. But it's kind of like suspenseful at times. I would recommend it though, but only if you have Netflix. I wouldn't say go out of your way to get Netflix. Do you watch any television shows?
No, not really. Television has kind of died for me in a way.
Oh,
I
yeah?
think I got tired of having so many of my favorite shows get canceled that I'm like, okay, I think I'm just gonna, cut the cable on this.
Yeah, no, I don't even have a cable subscription. There's a few shows that I watch now, or I'll watch them on Netflix. Is the primary source of where I get to watch the TV shows that I watch these days.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a lot more. I think I would say it's a lot more comfortable and inspiring to just watch, filmmakers or video creators on YouTube because it feels a lot more genuine, and you're not bombarded by commercials at any point. Well, as long as you disable ads, but
Yeah,
yeah, for me, like it might sound pretentious, but I find television to kind of be really artificial nowadays.
that's true. I used to love going back and watching Seinfeld over and over again, but now going back and watching it, it's almost painful because of the laugh track mainly. And just like the contrived stories, they're never really that much different week from week, episode to episode. There's a couple of new shows that I really like, starting with The Office. I love The Office. Have you ever seen that show, the American one?
I know. No, I haven't seen either of them.
I recommend watching the American one. That one I love so much. It's so good.
Yeah, when that one came on, I think I was busy watching Heroes, and that was the one I was addicted to at the time.
Oh, nice. And that one got canceled. Or no, was that the one that had a really awesome first season, but then the second season sucked and got canceled?
I think to my death, I will stand by that the first 3 seasons, minus volume 4 of season 3, were great, and then everything after was just nothing.
Okay. Yeah, no, I never got to watch The Office when it was on either. I only got to watch it in retrospect. And it's because I had it on DVD and I didn't have any internet or TV at the time. So it was like, watch Seinfeld again or watch something new, right? And that's what The Office became. And then The Office, I think, surpassed Seinfeld in being one of the greatest shows in history. And yeah, And then the creator, or no, the one of the writers of that show went on to create Parks and Recreation, which I haven't seen yet, but knowing this guy's track record now, I want to go back and see. But he also created Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is another awesome show. But you got to be a fan of Andy Samberg. But I really
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's hilarious.
I like his work.
I love his music too. I'm not a huge fan of his music, but obviously his hits that they played on SNL and stuff are fantastic. I'm familiar with those. And then he went on to create The Good Place, which is on TV now. So that's another show that I really am digging these days.
Yeah, I think the last TV show that I kind of tuned back in, and simply because it was something that I was waiting for years, was the third season of Twin Peaks.
Oh, cool.
And to me, that was like an absolute masterpiece to see that.
That's awesome. I remember seeing other people's reactions to that. I never got into the show. Who's the director of that show? Or creator?
David Lynch and Mark Frost.
David Lynch.
Yeah, and David Lynch is in my top 5 directors. He's definitely a source of inspiration for me nowadays.
What is his other films that David Lynch created?
He created Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive.
Eraserhead. Okay, yeah, no, that's probably the only one I've seen.
Mm-hmm. And that's another amazing example of, just independent creativity and what you can do over, a long period of time for however long you need to.
Yeah, because how long was Twin Peaks off before he came back with that season?
Well, to quote Laura Palmer, I'll see you again in 25 years. So yeah,
25
just about.
years, eh?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. So that is obviously a cult following, because you weren't around when that first 2 seasons came out.
No, I discovered it in 2010, and the second season ends so ambiguously that it really leaves you like heartbroken knowing that the show will never continue. And then,
It does.
The fates allowed, and David Lynch came back in full form, and it was outstanding.
You're listening to the Garrett Perry Podcast on 88.7 CFUR. David Lynch. He's oh man, Eraserhead still traumatizes me sometimes. And then I'm like trying to tell my friends about this crazy movie I watched. I cannot explain it. I don't know how.
I don't think anyone can really explain a David Lynch film.
It escapes words.
Yeah. Like, I could not make heads or tails of his film Mulholland Drive, and the only person who could actually explain it to me, I ended up dating. So there's that. That was kind of the clincher.
Just because she was a fan of Mulholland Drive?
Well, the fact that she could explain it, I was like, I need you.
Shoot. We've got a few minutes left. Gotta go right to the bottom.
But I mean, like, a film like that is just, it's right up there with things like Clerks or Richard Linklater's what was one of the first films he made?
Slacker?
There you go. Thank you.
I only know that from Kevin Smith talking about creating Clerks,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah,
I've never
exactly.
seen the
It's these prime examples of, people who just did everything they could to make their first film, and they were able to pull it off. And I think that's something that is missing for both Robert and Jason at the moment, because back when they were in their prime, and I still think Jason Steele is in his prime, for the record, but after Off the Table, Knox had so many opportunities when it came to Villain and Joe Cam and all these feature film ideas that he had. Yeah,
created for himself too, but just kind of fell through, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I learned, unfortunately, after the fact, I learned that he had a visual effects supervisor from Hollywood contacting him. They were working on getting a cast and crew for Villain. They were going to have it sent to film festivals and try to propel him into a whole new light at the age of 17. And that was something that all of his fan base were looking forward to, not only because it was a brand new film, but we were watching someone who we looked up to gain notoriety simply by making things on his own. And the same thing happened with Jason Steele. He had Special of Madness, and he talked about a feature film for the Kumquat Eaters. He had a film called The Banana People. And he was able to make 2 films on his own, but nowadays neither Robert nor Jason have any kind of feature films planned. And I understand that it's not exactly the easiest thing to do, but it feels like a forgotten time now, when there was, a time when they were able to do that, and nowadays it's kind of just sticking to the internet.
Well, when Jason Steele made his second feature film, The Detective America, that was through a Kickstarter, so it was kind of through the internet world, right?
Yeah, and thankfully that's been able to help people like him make what he wants to make, and I'm just wondering if he'll ever try to do that again.
I was disappointed with that film, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really get it. I think it might have been just too action-packed with not a heck of a lot going on at the same time.
About as much action-packed as you could put with, like, figurines and dolls and things like that.
Yeah, it might be worth a second watch for me. I don't know why. I even never gave it a second watch.
I think I've seen it about, like, 4 times now.
I liked his movie, Nick, the feature film.
Well, see, I'm the exact opposite there. Like I love everything that Jason does, but I cannot sit through Nick again.
It's about the last act with his other cousin there that comes and they do that job interview. That scene could be cut.
That's definitely a highlight.
That's a highlight. That's the scene that I thought should be cut from the movie. The animation parts in between all the live action parts, those are the highlights of the movie to me. And then just all the fun that they're having up until the job interview. I think it's a really great film. I'm a huge fan of Chris Alex's acting in that movie. He's hilarious.
That character that he portrays is just
wild.
Just the most pathetic and narcissistic character ever.
So soup money.
And I love that the character that his wife plays, the way she just kind of just stares at Robert and follows him around. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I wish that she was around longer in the movie. That was such a
there's
great
like a whole
character.
nother film going on there at the same time, and I'm like, where is this going?
And it just kind of fizzles out. Oh, she's gone now. But I'm glad that she was there for that part. True. That was probably the last highlight of Benfer for me too, though. After that, I don't really see Benfer's work at being that good. Especially like his Benfer Time show.
Yeah, that's an interesting cutoff, because I know it's completely up to him, and I know that, he has every right to stop or start whatever he wants to make. And I think he did a absolutely tremendously perfect job with All Gone. And it was the perfect payoff to everything that he's ever done through the years. And it may just be a change in a sense of humor, but to go from that and the amount of time and effort it takes to make something that incredible to this kind of anti-humor type of video where it's just awkward silences and offbeat dialogue, it's not something that I ever got into, and it's something that he's still doing to this day. He just puts himself in front of a green screen and has, non sequitur dialogue throughout the whole thing. And it seems like he still has an audience for it, but me personally, it's just not what it used to be.
No, I'm disappointed too. I liked his music cuts that he used to do, the music videos. Some of those early ones.
He was really great at those too.
Pink Towel.
I love Pink Towel.
It was one of the greatest.
I adore Pink Towel.
And cat videos on the internet.
Yeah, I think my favorite track of his is How. It's one of his lesser known tracks, but that's definitely my favorite.
Is that the one that you played in the movie?
Sorry?
Is that the one you played in the movie?
No, I played Tree Day.
Tree Day.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard he did a cover of Jason Steele's song from Charlie the Unicorn, the Candy Mountain.
Candy Mountain.
His cut of that song is like a Marilyn Manson cut. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's how Jason described it when they first played that.
That's right. I remember that was on the podcast. Oh man, it was ridiculous. And then the part where it breaks down and he's telling you to kill yourself and kill your parents
Mhm.
and burn down your school. Man, should have listened to him.
Yeah, when it comes to that, it's like that's another great example of things that I've tried to save as much as I can over the years. But the one track that I can no longer find anywhere in existence is a song that he had on his MySpace called "I'm a Big Boy."
I remember that song, I think.
Yeah, because you can hear it briefly in "Outside the Knox 2," which you can find on Studio Lost and Found if you look it up. But I can't seem to find it anywhere else, despite the fact that I have, so much of his stuff saved.
Were you able to access other people's databases of oh geez, I think I already answered this. It was the YouTube.
No, not personal databases, but I got it from their YouTube channels, and that was the best I could find.
Yeah, you certainly got a lot of footage.
Yeah, even on Chaos Pony, like my email to them was, "Robert, could you please re-upload your Nemo fight video? I miss it so." And his response was, "We'll see."
We'll see. The Nemo fight. Is that with his younger sister?
Yeah, that was with Sammy and Nikki, and
Nikki's
them
the one
just
that
screaming
responded.
Nemo over and over again, and then Sammy shoving the camera in Nikki's face, and she's just kind of staring blankly at him like,
Geez, I vaguely remember. I think I've seen that video too. Back in the day.
it's like, because this is real. And it might seem completely inconsequential to some people, but it's fans like me and the people who have responded to the documentary that will remember those things and have this kind of small connection to that because it meant something in a really small way.
It did, and the lasting effects on just people our age, we were influenced by it wholeheartedly. I don't think I would be a filmmaker in any aspect of any imagination if it wasn't for being inspired by other people doing it. I don't
Yeah, I
think
don't
I had
think,
the
neither would I,
imagination.
because as soon as you discover that you're able to do that completely on your own, and the more time and passion you put into those things and you see them come to fruition, that's what it all ends up coming to.
Well, we're
And to
almost
this day,
out of
sorry?
time here. We got to start
okay.
wrapping down the show. We got about a minute or so left.
Alrighty.
Any final thoughts down to this?
Thanks very much for having me on this podcast. Thank you very much for contributing to the film. Once again, it would not have been the same without you guys and your input.
Yeah, and obviously thank you a lot for making this film. Very eye-opening, even though I was aware of the scam. I think I only got scammed. I just bought a DVD off, and I found a link to the Fractaplots. I wanted a copy of the DVD, but it never came in. But he had my money. How much did he end up losing in that scam? Was it $68?
How much did I lose?
Yeah.
58 was the price for the box set.
And there's just like no thought of it all ever happening, getting delivered to you at this point. It's not going to happen.
Nope. Yep, and not a single response from the people I had email contact with. Not a single one of us confirmed delivery. So times 58 by 100 people or more, that's getting up into the thousands, and that's what he got away with.
And the audacity to keep doing it time and again. All right, this is the Garrett Perry Podcast on 88.7 CFUR. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cruz.
Fans of KnoxsKorner, this is what could happen if you get touched by the virus of Knox. It's funny though. Yeah, it's funny. But your whole body will turn blue. It's not cool. Maybe Knox will put you in his Knox videos. That's all you can do. Can't do anything. can't even write. You can't write. You can't write. So don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Never stare at shoes.